What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. This video is white people talking about poor white people. And poor white people talking about being poor. And why poor white people make poor decisions all the time. And why they remain poor because of their poor decisions. Because they want to worship the rich white people. Thinking that if I just worship the rich white people and do what the rich white people say, I'm going to be a rich white person. And 9.999% out of 10, that never manifests itself. And white people have been passing all the legislation they possibly could to keep themselves poor. They've been electing all the politicians that will guarantee them to be poor and their children to be poor. Right? But, you know, racism is one hell of a drug. Anyway, let's see what these white folks got to say about them being poor. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. Afro Think Tank, learn some, teach some. I'm out.
So I want to tell y'all why even the poorest white person will still vote Republican, even though it does not align with their interests. Because their prejudice is deep. They cannot see themselves being in the same party with people of color. They will not believe that their interests align with the people of color. They won't. They would rather lose everything they have, vote against everything important, because in their minds, the Democratic Party is just a party full of people wanting a handout. When in reality, the Republican Party is the party of handouts. Just not to them, to the wealthy. They would rather see the wealthy get richer and richer and richer than admit for 1 second that their interests align with black people. I'm a Southern white guy. I can tell you 100% this is what it's all about.
You know what's sad? I think that even if these poor white Trump supporters were actually educated on how the economy works, they'd still vote for white supremacy over their economic class interests. Because when you don't have a good education, don't have good job prospects, and the people in your personal life don't make you feel like you're special to them, there's temptation to fall into an ideology that tells you that you were born special. Some people would prefer our culture bullshit them into feeling the good feels over having good healthcare and higher wages. It's an ego boost for the people that want to be special, but there's no actual evidence that they are special. Don't get me wrong, I do think quite a few of these white supremacists, either consciously or unconsciously, believe that if they didn't have to compete with these black and brown people that are better educated and better qualified than them, that they would be doing better economically, and that's why they want to bring back white guy nepotism. But you gotta understand, when people think and feel about what their interests are, it's not always financial. It's not just ignorance. Some people can't feel good about themselves unless they feel like they're stepping on somebody else. Inspired by this person, highly recommend.
Poor working class white men tend to support and rally behind rich white men, thinking that proximity to power and whiteness will advance them in a meaningful way, instead of working with other marginalized communities in the working class to advance policies that will actually help them. But I have news for them. They're not getting invited to the parties. They're not getting invited on the yacht.
How can you say that white people have privilege? I'm a white person living in poverty. Bro, I'm one of the white people living in poverty. I am choosing between rent money and grocery money and paying to fix my fuck-ass car so I can drive to the job to make the money to afford the rent and groceries. By the way, still living paycheck to paycheck. I'm one of the white people who lives in poverty. You think I don't know ball? You think I don't know what's going on? I drive a 1999 Toyota Camry when it drives.
Poor white people are simply not locked out of higher education. White people benefit from every single structure, every single system that is in America. Poor white people are still overrepresented compared to other minority groups in higher education. Admissions committees, in fact, love the story of like rural poor whites. That is a very highly sought after narrative when you're applying to different higher education programs.
I really didn't understand that white people could be poor until I was like 20 years old. Like kind of embarrassingly old. But I remember I was like with my friend, and I don't know, I'm from like SoCal. So like growing up, all of the poor people that I knew were brown. Like I didn't know any like poor white people. So when people would come, like white people would complain about financial strife, I was like, but you're like literally white. So it's like, yeah, you can complain, but like it's not like you're not actually poor because you're literally white. And then I met people from like the East Coast that are like from the Carolinas or like from fucking like upstate New York, and they would tell me like, yeah, I was like actually poverty. Like I was poverty. Like we didn't have electricity in our house, and I was like, white people can have that too? What the hell? I remember I was like with my friend when she was telling me about like how she grew up and everything. And I remember thinking, I literally said to her, I was like, you're like the first like poor white person I've ever met. Like, that's crazy. Like, it just didn't compute. I was like, white and poor, like that can't be the same thing. But like, it is. I don't know. And then like you realize, you know, I realized, I was like, oh my God, that's why they want us to focus on race. You want to focus on race so you don't actually think about like the real divider, which is class. I don't know. Not to be one of those, but like, I don't know. Isn't that silly? That's kind of silly. Whatever.
Oh, you want to know how poor white Americans are treated underneath the post about white privilege. All right, let's get into it. Poor white folks are screwed by the system too, no doubt. Poor white Americans face poverty, unemployment, crappy health care, and a failing education system. It's tough, it's brutal, and it's wrong. But guess what? You're not also dealing with systemic racism on top of all of that. White privilege doesn't mean you're living in luxury. It means that you don't have the added weight of racial discrimination. You don't have to worry about being shot by the police at a disproportionate rate for looking too suspicious. You're not getting followed around stores just because of your skin color. You're not getting your job applications thrown out because they sound too ethnic. That's the privilege right there. It's the shit you don't have to think about every damn day. Imagine being poor and then on top of that, facing a world that is rigged to suspect, ignore, and punish you based just on the color of your skin. That is what people of color have to deal with. The system is screwing everyone, but it's got an extra special screw job for people of color. So, poor white Americans are treated like crap, absolutely. But they're not getting the double whammy of poverty plus racial discrimination. That's what white privilege is. It's not a get out of jail free card. It's the absence of a second set of chains. Open your eyes and see the whole picture. The system is broken for everyone, but for some, it's downright brutal.
Think about what a trick that was. If I just told you the reason we got to go to war is so I can keep my slaves, and you're a poor white person, doesn't even own any, why would you go fight for my stuff, right? You would, because I come to you and I tell you, man, if they get free, they're going to take your job. They're going to displace you. No, fool. They already displaced you. That's the point, because if you're white and you got to charge $1 a day to work on that farm, and the guy that owns the farm can get the black person to do it for free because they own him or her, right? Guess who's getting the job? Free is going to get the job. So actually, poor white folks would have been better off saying to hell with all this, joining with black folks to overthrow the system of enslavement that was bidding down the wages of all working people. But the psychological wage of whiteness kicked in, and divide and conquer work.
Yep, time to go. That motherfucker coming over here. Ooh, shit. Hey, Carlo, bitch, look behind you. Ooh, shit, motherfucker.
Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.